Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Omar from the Bullish Bears team. Want to make a new video building my watch list for tomorrow, March 21st, 2017. I can review a couple of my plays from today. I actually didn't trade today. I was just too busy at work, but a couple of the plays on my watch list. Let me move this down here. This was my watch list from today. And a couple of these moved on the upward trend, and a couple of these, pulled back nicely. Some of these were duds, some of them were straight duds, but a few of these moved nicely. I guess the biggest winner on my watch list was NVIS, and I talked about this yesterday. I had mentioned that this stock could potentially um, um, move today, and it was on my watch list because on Friday, it opened at 187 and it closed at 209. It held its highs, and it just continued to move upwards. At the market today, you had this little, pullback pre-market all the way down to about the 199 $2 area, and when it opened, it broke $2, and you see here it's like riding VWAP, and if you zoom in a little more, and you see how it's like touching VWAP, and you see how the TTM squeeze is going from the red to yellow. That means that it's going from very strong to on the selling pressure to lightening up on the selling pressure. And once you see that light blue, that's that pop. And you notice another couple of other confirmations. You see the green ready to cross over the red line, which tells you that it's a bullish confirmation. And it's no volume here, but then all of a sudden you start getting this volume push. And once it broke VWAP, that could have been your entry. I talked about this in a lot of my videos. When you see a stock go above VWAP, hey, sometimes it doesn't hurt to take a crack at it. And if it breaks a few cents below VWAP, you stop out for a small loss. But if it goes your way, and look what happened. Once it broke above VWAP, it broke above the 9 and 20 EMA. And at this point, if we're looking at the stock, this is the high. Let me add run. I'm at a price level here just so it can look nice and so it can pop. So right here, once it broke this like 207 mark, that was sort of the high of day. So now it starts building volume, and you get the volume push, and you see how it's gapping up, and it's pulling back, and it's continuing to gap up, and you get this other bull flag, and then you get a little gap up, and then it pulls back to the 9 EMA, and it just continues to gap up all the way to about 225. You just get this nice volume, and you see the TTM squeeze pop. You see the lines. Remember what I told you, when the green goes over the red and the more separation between the lines, that means that it's a very bullish confirmation. And as long as it rides the 9 EMA, you could just ride all the way up to the reversal. And what you should do is, as you see it form this trend, you put the trend line there. So you watch it, ride the trend, and you see you have this trend line here, and as long as it's riding the trend, you're good. And once it breaks the trend, look, it had a big pullback all the way down to about the low was what, 210, all right? And then it kind of picked up and went above VWAP, and then it continued on this upward trend all day. As you can see, for this one moment, it broke below VWAP, but then it bounced right back above. And, it basically rode the 9 EMA. Now, on the 1 minute, it's moving, but it's a little choppy. So what did I tell you? When stocks are choppy like this and you're not really sure what to do, look at the 5-minute time frame. Sometimes you get a clearer sense. And on the 5-minute time frame, this is the 13 EMA that I have on the 5-minute time frame. And, it just rides the 13 EMA all day. I mean, it never really breaks below it. I mean, and that's what you do. You just looking. Once it broke above the VWAP and it's back above the 13 EMA, you just use that trend line. And let me put it here. You put that trend line here, and you just basically, watch it ride the trend. You watch it ride the trend, and goes above the trend line, and it breaks above it, and then it kind of hits the trend line, but it never really breaks below it. You see it, and it just continues to gap right back up. So, it's just basically riding this trend line. It never breaks it until at the end of the day. Then all of a sudden it's sold off. After hours, it's down now to like 260 right now. But this is going to be on my watch list for tomorrow, too. And, that's how you can kind of ride a stock all day. And you see it here on the 5-minute. You see how the green is over the red the entire time, and then you have this little pullback here, but then it kind of just continues to go, and then it kind of sells off at the after hours. But it's a nice play. You could have rode this and made some good money, and it was liquid too, 8 million shares, all right, traded. So that was like the play of the day on my watch list. But also a couple other DDC. Look at this. This was on my watch list because on Friday, you know, this thing held its highs. It went from 8 and it closed at like 976. But then pre-market it ripped to 1290, and then it was up to 1290, and then it kind of like, you know, pulled back all day, sort of went below VWAP. So like if you're watching this and you're not sure, oops, let me move this back over. So if you're not sure about your entry, you know, you're watching the stock as the market opens, and you're like, wait a minute, is this gonna continue to go up? Usually when a stock rips like this, you're gonna get a pullback, and once it broke below VWAP and the 9 EMA and the 20 EMA right here, but really below VWAP, you could have shorted this right down, right at the open for a quick, you know, this thing, the low was $12. All right, so you know you could have shorted this quickly and made some money. Actually went below it. It went to $12, and then it bounced back up all the way. Look how volatile the stock was, and it went all the way back up right to VWAP 1241. It broke above for a second, but look, it just kind of like consolidated all day, and it kind of, you see how VWAP plays resistance at this point. You see how it slightly touches it and goes back down. So you could have reshorted it right here, and you know, played it down. That's why VWAP is great. It's a great indicator. Look at this, and it just kind of collapsed. This could have been a tremendous short. You know, that could have been a great play today. And then, you know, kind of like found its support at 1171, and then you could have, you know, could dip bought it, and it rolled back up to 12, and then it went above VWAP. All right, so it's back up to 12. So right here you could have longed it, and at the end of the day, remember I said how you use VWAP as your entry. Look at that. Once it broke 312, once it broke VWAP, you could have rolled this up, you know, and made. Now, you know, you say, well, you know, if your account is small, obviously, you know, this is an expensive stock, and you may want to trade it. But, you know, but if you got a little size, you got a $10,000 account, $15,000 account, you could have, you know, sized in, and you could have made a nice little trade and made, you know, a few $100s to $1,000, you know. So, and you know, it's up after hours. This is definitely gonna be on my watch list for tomorrow again. And you know, who knows? Maybe it continues upward. If I look at the yearly chart, I mean, it's very overextended right now. I mean, it's super overextended. This is definitely due for a pullback. On the yearly chart, let me zoom out a little bit. I mean, its high is at 1265, so it's closing the high. So this is probably gonna, you know, pull back again, and you're probably gonna have another opportunity more to short this. Both these stocks are gonna stay on my watch list for tomorrow. Okay. And the last play I'll talk about today, or I'll talk about this and one more. NAK was another one that was on my watch list. And today it grinded. You know, it opened the market, when the market opened at 9:30. It opened at, let's see, I fell with this, about 137. And then it rolled pretty much all day. Once it broke VWAP, look. Once it broke VWAP right here, boom, this could have been your entry. And you could have just rolled this all the way up. It stood above the 9 and 20 EMA. It was choppy all day, but it was liquid. And, you know, you could have used that VWAP as your entry at 142 and rolled all this all the way up to, you know, you could have held this. Look, it's still up. It never broke below VWAP. It never even touched it. You know, that could have been your entry, and you could have been a nice move upward. And, you know, you could have looked at the 5-minute time frame if the one was too choppy. And, you know, you can see how it rides the 13 EMA, nice and easy breezy. I mean, for a second here, it dipped below it, but that was very, you know, for a moment, and then it gaps up and it's continue up. So this is a stock that's going to hold its highs. Now, the only other stock, there's a bunch of stocks here that did well, and a lot of these pullbacks. I'm not going to go over each one because I just want to build a watch list. But the other one I want to talk about is NUGT. Now, if you watched my video yesterday, I said specifically that, and you can look for yourself. I mean, if you don't believe me, watch the video. But what I really wanted to talk about was how I say, like, usually, for whatever reason, NUGT and JUNG between the hours of 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. somehow move. Like, they'll do a big movement one way or the other, like either up or down. And you use VWAP as your entry. And if you were watching this, okay, you zoom in a bit here. All right, so the market opens, right, at 9:30. And this thing, you know, it's choppy. It's going up, it's going up, it's going up. And it hits its high here of 918, right? And then it kind of consolidates, and you see the MACD curling. You see the TTM squeeze kind of coming down, and you see, right, it starts breaking below the EMAs, the 9, the 20, and VWAP. And once it broke below VWAP, okay, this could have been your entry, like right over here, about the 908 mark. For a second, it bounced above it, but that was briefly and then it kind of broke below it, and you know, you could have rolled this down all the way down to about 885 and your entry would have been, once it broke VWAP, you could have got in about, you know, about the 907, 906 mark to 889. So, you know, that's 20 cents you could have made in about 15 minutes, you know? And then it kind of bounced up. And you see how it touched VWAP for a second, but it breaks above for a moment, for a slight second, and then it comes back down again. So you could have reshorted here. So if, let's say you missed this first entry and you're not sure what it's going to say, all right, I'm going to see if it's going to break above VWAP. If it doesn't, and if it breaks below, I'm going to short it. And look at it. You could have reshorted it here about $9, and got about almost a 20% play here, you know? And this is how people make a lot of money. This is what day trading is, you know? 20 cents is a 20% return on your investment. That is a great return on your investment. Now, you know, if you have a small account, it's not much, but let's say, you know, you're playing with some size, you got 20,000, 30,000 in your account, and UGT, you get executed lightning fast because it's so liquid, so many shares. You can make, and you know, you can make a lot of money. If you had 1,000 shares of this, you would have made $200, about $200 in a matter of like what, 10 minutes, you know? You could have made that. Now, if you had, you know, if you have a big account, like where you could size in and get like 5,000 shares, that's like, you know, 500, that's almost $1,000, you know? So that's why it's good when you have size. And NUTT and JUNG, honestly, guys, these are stocks that you can trade. You can literally make a living trading these two stocks, no matter how good gold is doing. Same thing happened here with NUGT. Look, at JNUG, same thing, about the same time. Look, it broke below it. It bounced above for a second, but then it had a big dip below. And then it just kind of rolled below the VWAP, right? And then towards the end of the day, it breaks above it, and you could then ride this up, you know, and roll this up into the close, you know. Look at that, boom, all the way, and it's up after hours, okay? These two stocks are also going to stay on my watch list, all right? So I just wanted to talk about some plays and talk about entries and exits and just give you an example. Remember, you're always looking for the flag pattern, okay? Look, that's a bull flag pattern. You know, and you can look at it on the 5 minute too. Maybe it looks a little cleaner. You see how you gaps up, it pulls back to the 9 EMA, and then you get that second push, you know, and then you get the sell off, like I said, and then, you know, kind of gap back up. So, you know, so you had a few opportunities to trade this, and also, guys, you can also always use support and resistance to kind of get a sense of a stock. So, you know, when the market opens, you could say, all right, here's the higher day at this point, right? And then you see it and you're watching it for the next hour or so. By like 10:30 or so, you know, this is like the lower day. So you know it's like in this range. The stock this is the range for the day. And you kind of get a sense of if it, you know, if you're not sure, you say, hey, if it gets close to the support, which is this is a 660 level, and it bounces off it, I'm gonna long it. If it goes close to the top, which is 708, and it bounces below it, then I'm going to short it. That's another strategy you can do. There's a lot of different ways you can trade, all right? And you can do support resistance all day. So, you know, at this point, this is resistance, and then this is support, right, at this point in the day, and then it bounces back up, and then this is, you know, resistance, and then it dips below it, makes a new lower low, and then this is support, and then you kind of get your sense of ranges of where the stock is, you know? That's basically what you really want to kind of get a sense of, knowing where support and resistance is at all times to know how to get in and how to trade. But what I do is I try to make it simple, keep it simple. If you use VWAP, VWAP is very helpful. Just say, hey, you know what? If it breaks below VWAP, I'm going to short it. If it breaks above VWAP, and usually towards the end of the day, this is a great indicator. Usually towards the end of the day, if it breaks above VWAP, it's usually going to stay above it. And you see, it broke above VWAP. For a second, it dipped below it, but it bounced right back, and you could have rolled this up. All right, so with that said, let's build our watch list for tomorrow. All right, so to build my watch list, I'm going to go here. Oops, I'm going to click this. I am going to go to create watch list, and I'm going to put tomorrow's date, 3/21/17, and I'm going to hit save. And I'm gonna do that scan. Remember, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna look for load it, right? We're gonna go for the nightly scan big movers. We're gonna hit the scan button and we look for stocks between 20 cents and $30 that have a minimum volume range of 500,000 shares that are up 5%, no max. We got 57 plays today, okay? And what we do is then that scan is already here because that's part of my scan for the day. And I find a majority of my plays on this scan, to be honest with you. And we go here and we're going to look at the chart. So we start with the biggest percentage gain, which is NKTR. And look at this thing. This thing went from $15 to $22. This thing was at $14.96. Okay, that was as low over the last 5 days. This thing went bananas today. And this is absolutely going to be on the watch list. Now, what do I expect this to do tomorrow? Pull back hard, at least to the $20 range, you know? I mean, it may continue to gap up. It's going to, maybe it moves up a little bit. So one or two things usually happens with stocks like this. They either sell off right away at the open, find its support, and then continue to trend upward because that's people taking profit. Or it continues to go up at the open, and then it completely sells off, and people take profit the rest of the day. But one way or another, the stock is going to pull back tomorrow. And if you look at the yearly chart to see where it's been over the last year, okay, look at this. This broke its yearly high. So at this point, the yearly high, which is pretty crazy, was here. All right, it was at 20 bucks. It's at $22. It's $2 over its yearly high. I don't know. Let's see if I could do like a. Let's see what it's done over. Let's go. Let's see what it's done over 2-year daily. Yeah, this is above its 2-year high as well. So this is like at an all-time high. You know, so you know it may continue to trend upward, but it's gonna pull back tomorrow. So if you're an options trader, look for a put. If you're a day trader, look to short it. You know, at some point this is gonna give you a nice pullback. All right, it may continue upward, but you're gonna have some opportunity to make some money tomorrow. So that's definitely watch. All right, so let's keep moving. Let me do 2-day, 1 minute. All right, so next up is BLPH. BLPH, look at this. Pre-market, it was 95 cents. This thing ripped from 95 cents to 165. Look at this. This thing opened, and let's talk about this. You see how it broke above VWAP. It's riding the 9 EMA, and it's never breaks below it. So you could have just rode this as it's going up the 9 EMA. The parabolic SAL, the dots are below the candle, which is a confirmation sign that the price of the stock is going to go up. You know, it's hot, it's cold, you know, but you know, it's not staying hot above 70. So when the RSI is 70 or above, that means it's overbought, and you know, it's gonna pull back. When it's 30 or below, it's oversold, and that means it's expected to, people expect to buy it. But you see the MACD, the green goes over the red, and it just stays above it. So that's all confirmation that the stock. And you see when it's spaced here, look how it just gaps up. And the TTM squeeze, look at this. It's light blue to blue the whole time. So it just rides all the way up. And on the 5 minute, if you're looking for an entry, so it's the first candle to make a new high over the previous candle. So my entry would have been on the 5 minute candle here, and then here, and then once it broke higher day. So once it broke this price, that would have been my next candle, and then here. So each one of these candles, that's the new high. But remember, it's only going to go up so much before the reversal. And if you notice on the 1 minute chart that it gaps up here, right? It gaps up. But then what do you see? A head and shoulders pattern forming. So this is the shoulder, this is the head, this is the shoulder, and this is the breakdown. And if you notice, the MACD is starting to curl. Once you see that curl, that means it's bearish. That means you're going to get the selling pressure, and it's going to sell it off. And you see the TTM squeeze go red, so you know you get that selling pressure. And that's what I like to do. I like to let the stock rip, and I like to shorten to the reversal. But, you know, when you're watching this on the 1, right, you're looking for those flags. So here's the first flag, right? Gaps up, pull back. Here's the second gap up, pull back. Then you get another gap up, pull back to the 9 EMA. But usually by the second one, that third one is usually where the sell-off is. You got the, at this point, you got that one last squeeze, and then it completely collapses and sells back down. It could have been a tremendous short. All right. So with that said, it's, you know, it moves so much, and if we look at the 5-day, 5-minute chart, 5 days ago, the stock, well, yeah, it was 95 cents. It's heading towards its highs. I mean, you know what? I'm gonna put it on the watch list again, just because sometimes when stocks move on news, and what I don't know what the news was. Let's see. Bella for Therapeutics, fourth quarter narrows, lost narrows VP a year ago. Oh, so it had I guess it had some good earnings. All right, that's what made it move. We'll put it on the watch list because sometimes they move for consecutive days, and this may pull back. This may continue to go down at the market, but if it breaks above VWAP, you may want to take it, just see what it does. More likely it's going to sell off, but it may pop. Sometimes stocks move for consecutive days. So let's keep looking. All right, so next up, FLGF. This stock, let me just move this over so I can see a little better the volume. And put this here. And no, choppy, no way. MVIS, yes, absolutely. This was a stock that was on my watch list today. It's going to stay on my watch list. It's held its highs. Let's see what it does over the last year. The stock is at its all-time high. All right, so expect a pullback. Maybe it continues to run, but I expect this. It's had 4 green days, so expect a reversal at some point. This is gonna be a nice short opportunity. It doesn't mean that it won't continue to run. Doesn't mean that it can't continue to go up, but I expect it to pull back. Now it's very, very on the yearly chart. It's very, very bullish. So it could continue to move. All right. Another thing I want to show you guys is let me go here. I just want to talk about this. So I'm gonna go to stockcharts.com, and I could have did this through Thinkorswim, but you should also always get a sense of where the 50-day and 200-day moving average is, because the 50-day and 200-day moving average and by default it's the default settings here on the indicators, because these play support and resistance, and if you can see, it's above both the 50 and 200-day, well above it. All right, so this is due for a pullback. I mean, maybe it continues upward, but I would expect that it's going to give back some of those gains tomorrow, so it may be a good shorting opportunity. All right, okay, next up, let me pull back to the 1 day 2 minute, 2 day 1 minute, sorry. CTMX, wow, look at this. This thing went from $14 to $21, and then it peaked in the pre-market and just kind of sold off and just been sell off. It's still super overextended. It's at $18.99. What I notice when stocks have these big moves and they pull back, sometimes the next day they could just gap up. But this stock is it's still overextended. It's still above its highest point. 1792 was its high. So this is probably gonna be a great short. This may be a fantastic short tomorrow. It gave back so much, but I don't know if tomorrow it's gonna be hot because maybe it had its move, but keep an eye on it. I'm not gonna put it on the watch list, but this may be a great short tomorrow. All right, DVCs next up, another stock that went bananas. This was $8.45 5 days ago. It went from $12.90 pre-market. All these stocks are going crazy, and then look, it's kind of consolidating as well. And this had 4 million shares, and it's like right at VWAP right now. It, kind of sold off, and then it's kind of gapping up. I don't know. Maybe this thing moves tomorrow. Who knows? Man, I don't know. I mean, if we're looking at it, if we're looking at the 5 minute, it gives you a cleaner look. It just sort of, you see, once it broke below VWAP, could have been a great short, all the way down to about 1175, and now I have that bounce play, and it's above VWAP now. I'll put it on the watch list, see what happens tomorrow. Okay, so with that said, let's move on. MCF is stock that has no volume, but it did gap up all day. It held its highs all day long. I love that pattern when it's riding the channel all the way up. Broke VWAP here, could have been your entry, could have rolled this up, but there's no value though. That's the only thing that I don't like about stocks, when they're this low volatility. But look at this. This thing could be, it was at $14 and it just completely been selling off. So maybe it's gonna bounce back. I mean, it has to break the 20 EMA. This is the 9. This is the 20 EMA. And if you look at if you type MCF here, you can see what it's done. So look where the 50-day moving average is at 787, and the 200-day moving average is 960. So it has more to go. I mean, I'm gonna put it on the watch list, even though it has no volume. You may want to look at it for a potential swing trade. All right, I'll leave it on there for you swing traders. You may want to look at it. All right. And why is and just to give you some insight, why this defaults in the 50-day and 20-day moving average, because those are the two most popular moving averages used by traders. That's it. That and they place support resistance because other traders look at it. That's all that means. That's all there is to it. There's no like real science behind it or anything like that. All right, next up, NAK. NAK was on my watch list, and NAK opened at about 9:30 with about 137, and it held its highs. It's at 164 currently. We're gonna keep watching this tomorrow, see what it does. Oops. Let's do that again. NAK. Yeah, there you go. So, and then you can kind of look this stock on news. It tends to move, and it was up at 345, and it quickly collapsed. So it's up, slowly grinding. This could be a potential swing trade for you guys. You may want to look at it. Look at the MACD. It's curling on the yearly. I mean, and it was very overbought. I mean oversold. So that's why I had a nice move today. It's still kind of low. I mean, it has more room to go. Maybe it breaks $2 tomorrow. Let's see. All right. So we'll see. And then you could go to analyze to get more insight into the company. So like you make sure the link is red and it matches your links here, and then you can get more information about the company. So if you wanted more information about the company, you go to this company profile, you go to buy numbers, and it gives you some more information about the company, about the assets and the revenue, and and the company profile and all that good stuff. Well, usually it gives you a link to a website. I don't know why it doesn't, but that's another piece of functionality in Thinkorswim. All right, so let's move on. Next up, HOS. HOS is a stock that opened up at 306. It's up after hours. Right now it's at 375. Okay, so it opened at 306 and it's liquid. 2 million shares traded. It's definitely going to be on the watch list tomorrow. So it should be active. So let's put it on HOS. Okay, and if you always look to see what it's been at the yearly or the weekly. You get a sense that this thing is way over, so it's cheap right now. That's why it's starting to gap up again. And look, it's that TTM squeeze. I'm sorry, yeah, it's coming up. The MACD's curling and it's still pretty low. Yeah, and this may continue to move. Keep watching it tomorrow. See what it does. So we'll put it on the watch list. All right. Next up is MBRX. Not too choppy. I don't like it. But it is moving. I mean. But NOG, no way. AUPH, yeah, was the big mover today. This thing went crazy today. Look at this. This thing gapped up. You got that nice bull flag. Look at that pullback right to VWAP. And this could have been your entry right here once it bounced off VWAP and it rode the 9 EMA all day. It never broke below the 20 EMA. It could have been an easy trade. You just watch it, say, hey, I'm going to watch this to see if it, as long as it doesn't break below the 20 EMA, I'm holding. And you could have held this all the way up. Now, I don't know if I would have held that long, but you could have. And then look at on the 5 minute, look how clean it looks. You get the bull flag, the rip. So this is the pole, this is the flag. This is the rip, right? The pole, flag. Pole, flag, and it's just gapping up. Now, what you want to do is make sure that, if it's riding a trend, you want to make sure you ride that trend so you catch it. As long as it's riding the trend, and I didn't do this right, but as long as it's riding the trend, okay, let me do that again. Yeah, you got to make sure you do this trend line right. It matters. So, what you want to do is you want to be with the trend. And as long as it's riding the trend, you're good. Once it breaks the trend, there's a reversal coming, and that's when the reversal happens. All right. So, and you see how it never broke below VWAP for at least for most of the day. And then it kind of pulls back, and you could have had a nice short. But look what happens. It bounces off VWAP, and after hours is up. So, it closed at 878. It's at 883. So this is definitely going to be volatile tomorrow. I mean, it may have another move up, at the open and then another pullback. But this is going to be a great short at some point. You should watch this all week to get into that short activity. All right. Next is CTRX. CTRX, another stock. This thing moved nicely at the open. And it had 5 million shares traded. So you see, it's kind of just walking sideways, and then boom, it breaks that high of day, and you get that pull, and you get that flag, right? So it's the pull, is the flag, the pull back to the 9 EMA. So when you see a stock like out, like you see that 9 EMA here, I wouldn't buy it here. I'm waiting for it to pull back. Once it pulls back, that if it bounces off here, that's my entry. This is where I would enter the stock right here and then ride it up. But you got to be careful because remember what I said, you get that. This is a more typical play where you get the one pullback, two pullback, and then the last push before you have that collapse and sell off, and it's sold off there. All right, and it's kind of below VWAP now, and I'm not gonna put it on my watch list, but this is like more of a typical momentum play. All right, let's keep moving. The DPW, no way, CMBX. Yeah, it's just this stock when it moves, it was at 228, it's up at 272. This may be a good swing trade back up. This thing keeps going up and down, up and down. It keeps getting pumped. I'm not gonna put it on my watch list, but you may want to watch it for a potential swing trade. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing hits $3 tomorrow. OMER ripped, man. Went from 10 and it's above you at 1175. It held the ties. If you're watching this is kind of choppy, but you see it once it broke VWAP, that could have been your entry, and it stays above the 9 and 20 EMA, and you could have rolled this up for a while. In the 5 minutes, it's a little cleaner. You see, you have that pull up, and you have the pullback here, and then you have that second push up, and then you have the pullback right there. All right, so sometimes the 5 minutes you get a cleaner entry. Okay, yeah, and it's still up. It's still sort of holding its highs. So I'm gonna put this on the watch list tomorrow, and it wasn't super liquid, but liquid enough. Maybe you get a nice little shorting opportunity tomorrow. Okay, let's see where it's at. First green day, it's sort of in play. We'll see what happens tomorrow. All right, let's keep going. Like 2 minutes, 2 day, 1 minute, and let me zoom out here. All right, next up is SCON. SCON, nah, I don't like it. Ugly charts. TST, no way. CEMP is another stock when it rips and moves. It's choppy. I don't really love it, but maybe look. BTUUQ, nope. RVP, nope. IRDA, it's kind of like moving upward. It kind of held ties. Gapped up at the open nicely for a nice little push. It just went straight up. So remember, when a stock's like this, you definitely put in that trend line. And I'm watching them put in a trend line. If I'm in, I'm waiting to see what I like to do is let it rip like this, and then just look for the pullback and short. Once it breaks the trend, I just short it back down, and boom, could have made a nice little chunk of change. Short it back down. The problem is that these brokerages like TD, Ameritrade, sometimes E-Trade has shares. You need like Interactive Brokers or Speed Trader or Centerpoint to find the shares to short. They're easier to locate. But it kind of grinded up. It's above VWAP and it's kind of continuing to move up. This was 179 5 days ago. And if we look at the yearly chart, its highest, it's at 333. It broke here. Its next resistance point seems to be about it's above it. Really, there's nothing stopping this to about what's this candle? The high of this candle is 239. So 239, if it breaks 239, there's nothing stopping this till like about 250. So you know what? You might want to look at this for maybe you get a little push on the upward tomorrow if you want to swing trade it. I don't really love it on the momentum side. It's too choppy for me, but it could be a swing trade. I'm not gonna put it on my watch list, but I just call it out just in case you want to put it on yours. So look at this stock. It's went from 10. This thing, pre-market was like at 1072, and it had a high of 1197. Right when the market opened, this thing moved. So it gapped up, it broke above VWAP, and then for a second it broke below VWAP, but then it went right above it again. You get that volume push, you get that MACD curl, the TTM squeeze popping, and it went all the way up to 1197, and then it just sort of pulled back. And it's sort of been just sideways. This is a stock that moves when it has news. It was 1037 5 days ago. You could put it on your watch list. It'll probably give some of it back because it's just sideways. So that means it's gonna break. I'm not gonna put it on my watch list, but you may want to watch it tomorrow. KERX, open. It's choppy. It is continuing to grind though. This was 529 5 days ago. This may be a stock that you may want to look to swing. If you look at the yearly, its highs is 780, and then this thing completely collapsed. So it's been grinding up. Kind of gets to like that $4 or $5, and it comes back to $3, and then it goes up. So it's at that $5-6 range now. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not gonna put it on my watch list, but you know, you may want to watch it yourselves. Next up is CRPB. CRPB. This was, I think, the first stock I ever traded. I think this was it. This may have been the first stock I ever traded. Yeah, it's holding its highs. This stock, when on news, it moves. You know, it's choppy right now, but this stock definitely can move. On 5 minute, looks a little cleaner. You know, you get that flag up, push, and then that pull back to VWAP, and then bounced up, and it kind of, you see how VWAP plays support. It broke below for a second, but it's up. And then if you look at the yearly, you know, it's right about at the high of year. So this might be set up for a great potential short. You know, I'm gonna put it on the watch list just for, you know, you shorters. Maybe prepping for a nice pullback. So let's keep moving. CPRX, nope. GEVO, nope. GSAT, nope. SPWV, this was at 454, bounced up to 492. It's high. It's kept grinding up. You know, like it had a million shares. You know, it was a little choppy. If you're gonna trade this, probably had a cleaner entry on the 5 minute. You know, right here where it broke high day, you could have got in, and then you see it kind of gapped up. I don't know. You could put it on for a swing trade. I'm not gonna put it on my watch list. AMD is back again. The infamous AMD. This thing it moves, man, with range. This thing will probably run for a few days and then sell off, and then run again and then sell off. I mean, this is a money-making stock, man. You see right here, right when it broke VWAP, you could have just broke this all the way up. And you see how it never broke below. Just for a second here, it broke below the 9 and 20 EMA, but then it just continues to grind up on the 5 minute. Look at that. Look at that. Just nice and easy, man. Bounces off VWAP and it's moving up against after hours. This is gonna pull back tomorrow. Tomorrow you're gonna have a nice short. It might still continue to grind up, but you know, it's up there again. I wouldn't be surprised at the open. This thing pulls back nicely and then it continues upward. So we'll see. HMY, look at it's moving, holding its highs. It's liquid, but it's so choppy. Stocks, you don't know what the hell they're doing. You know, I mean, you may want to trade this. Generally, you know, this is a stock that you know, I would put on my watch list, but it's just so choppy, you know. So I'm not gonna put it on my watch list, but you may want to put it on yours if you want to swing it. KEM, this thing, yeah, it went from, you know, 1140 and it gapped up to 12, and it's continuing to hold its highs. You know, it's 1083, and if you look at the yearly, all right, this is at its high. It's at its new high. So we're gonna put this on the watch list, and I would be looking to see if you could short this tomorrow. You know, maybe it continues to move at the open, but you know, it's definitely over. Look at this. It's hot. It's gonna pull back a little bit, so you can get a nice short. You know, so you know, look at that stock, AKAX. Okay, and it grinds up all the way to 17. Pull back. It still holds its highs. I'm not gonna put on my watch list, but you know, I had a nice little move here. Okay, next up, CLD. This is a stock that went from 383 to 41. Cloud Peak Energy. It's moving. 1.5 million shares traded. If you look at the 5 minute, just rolled at 13 EMA on the 1. This is one of those stocks that you kind of like swing because it's so choppy and you know it's all over the place. This is one of those stocks that if you buy, you know it's a slow grinder. You know, so you know you can look at it. Maybe you may want to trade it tomorrow. Maybe you're looking at a potential swing. You know, it has room to go up, but I'm not gonna put it on my watch list, but it may have the potential to keep moving. We'll see. NTIP. Oh, this is a stock that's on its yearly high. Nah, it's too choppy. I'm not looking at that. GPL, no. PGH, no. MOV. Yeah, look at this. This went from 21 to 25. Movado Group. Wow, look at that. No volume, but this thing moved. Look at this. Once it broke VWAP, this thing went crazy. You know? I mean, the bid in the ass is ridiculous. You know, it's not liquid, but I would put it on the watch list anyway, just to see. Maybe you may want to potentially do a long-term put because, you know, this thing was at $35. Wow, this thing completely collapsed. Maybe it continues to run up slowly. So I'll put it on the watch list just for you options traders. see what happens tomorrow. Let's go back. And where was I? MOV. Okay, next up, Cara. I love this stock. Wow, look at this. This thing ripped. This thing went crazy. Went right above VWAP. Could have been your entry, and you could have just rolled all this up. It broke below VWAP for a second, but then it kind of goes back above it again, and boom. Once it broke above it again, you could have, look at it, touches it, and then it just continues to gap up. This thing went, has no chill. Cara is a stock that, like AMD, when it moves big time. So definitely on watch for tomorrow. Tomorrow, this is probably going to be a great short. Okay. GLF. Nope. IPI. Nope. ALQA. Nope. Ks. Nope. FBR. FBR kind of moved. It went from it went up all the way to 945 from 932. You could look at it. I'm not going to put on my watch list, but maybe a potential swing for you. CYTR. Nope. TRTC. Nope. SA. Nope. And BCI. Nope. So these are the stocks that I'm gonna watch. Now, like always, even though they don't appear on my scanner, I always put NUGT because NUGT is great for trading. Look at it, it's up after hours. Alright. JNUG is up after hours, I think too. So they always move in unison. Alright. They're always on my watch list. Now, I have this scanner too, this after hours scanner. Let me see if I can pull it up. After hours gap scan. Let's see what's moving after hours. So we can, there's quite a few of them. ALQA, nope. DPW, nope. GEVO, nope. SCON, nope. NAK, already on watch list. CPRX, nope. NVCN, nope. Nope. And do I have this HOS? Yeah, I already have it on my watch list. All right, so this looks like this is what's going to be on my watch list for tomorrow. And I always like to put dust too as well, because dust, even though it's expensive, dust moves the opposite of NUGT. So whatever NUGT does, dust does the opposite. And it's big, you know, VWAP is excellent to trade this stock. Okay, so with that said, this is my watch list for tomorrow. All right, March 21st. So I hope you found some value in this. You know, well, we've got some nice affordable plays and some, you know, that are a little bit more pricey. All right, so hope you found this useful, and see you in the Bullish Bears Facebook group. All right, have a good one, guys.